So we are going to grade some sample body paragraphs now, but before we do that, I wanted to direct your attention to this chart that I use um, to grade essays and body paragraphs. So this is very similar to what they use at the AP reading, and it's a way to keep track easily of what the student has put together, and also to communicate to your students what your expectation is of them throughout the essay. So you can see across the top here, there are 7 documents. And down the left side, there are the 4 steps that students should take with each document in order to earn points. Obviously, you don't have to do all 4 with each document. So the student first needs to paraphrase the document and find relevant information. If they do that 3 times in the essay, they get the first evidence point. They then need to deploy that evidence in an argument about the relationship between railroads and empire building. They need to do that 6 times in order to gain the second evidence point. Then the student needs to identify relevant source information. And finally, they need to explain why that source information affects the way the document is written, the document's tone, or how the document portrays the relationship between railroads and empire. So with that in mind, let's grade this first sample body paragraph, and I'll think aloud. In addition, railroads positively affected the process of empire building by providing empires more access to territories, therefore increasing advantages. For example, in the British gigantic proposal, the railways would provide the British with access to Egypt, East Africa, and other places in Africa. So already in that sentence, the student has paraphrased document 4 by finding relevant information in that document. The next sentence, Britain gaining access to these regions would give Britain an increase in imperial power because they would gain resources these countries had to offer. So in that sentence, the student links having access to these countries with increasing imperial power. So I'm going to give them the explains point. They tie it back to the prompt of empire building. However, we should note that because the source is Cecil Rhodes, a British imperialist, he would, and already, right, the student has identified relevant source information. Because he's Cecil Rhodes, a British imperialist, he would exaggerate how much land Britain could occupy because it would serve his hidden agenda as an imperialist who wants to convince people to gain territory. So the student has linked Cecil Rhodes' identity as an imperialist with his the content of the document, which is exaggerating how much land Britain could occupy. So they get the full sourcing analysis points there. Okay, I'm going to keep going. In addition, Sir Henry Norman, while discussing the Trans-Siberian Railroad, states how Russia using railroads could be used to transport soldiers and could be used to easily launch attacks, therefore making Russia stronger and impenetrable. Okay, they definitely paraphrase document 5, talking about railroads and Russia's strength. This is another example of empires being able to gain more access as a result of railways, because railroads would provide advantages to plan or prepare for attacks prior to them occurring, leading to an increase in control for empires. Look at this student clearly tying everything back to the prompt, using their own words to describe documents, and doing a sourcing analysis. They are on their way.